Well, in most countries, children have to learn how to do calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And they have to learn to write them down in a set pattern. Now, it's a bit old-fashioned to have this sort of drill because actually number work's very, very important. And the tables is important, but being able to write it in a special way is a bit old-fashioned because as long as you can do it and get an answer, as long as you know the numbers, anyway, that's a number into a box, you have to think, my target, let's say the target is 500,000, okay? Now 500,000 is 500,000. So there's 6 boxes, and every time a number comes up, you have to decide where to put it. Once it's there, you can't change its place. Now, any number of players can play this because they each have their own little frame which they're going to put the numbers in. And the person who's organizing this draws the numbers out of a bag randomly and tells everybody, supposing they get the number 9, everybody's got to write 9 in one of the boxes, but they choose themselves which one. If you're aiming for 500,000, you certainly wouldn't put it in the first box.
Can I just ask you, Toni, which box are we talking about here?
Caroline, you don't need to know.
So this isn't on this screen. This isn't on this screen here. We're just imagining we've drawn 6 boxes alongside each other, and we're going to create a 6-digit number, and we're throwing 1 dice at a time or twirling a spinner, one spinner at a time. Okay, we're generating 1 number at a time, or we've got 9 digits in a box. Or it can be 10 because we want to do 0 in this case.
Yes, we do. It doesn't really matter. It is. You just imagine you have set your own frame to start with. You've decided which sort of calculation it's going to be. I just used the target 500,000 as an example, but whichever calculation is, the process is the same. You choose the numbers one at a time until you've chosen however many numbers are needed for this particular calculation, and everybody puts the numbers in the boxes, and the person who's closest to the target wins the point. So it's a collection of games. I've illustrated 4 on the slide for those of you who can see it. 4 different games, but there are many more. And
you can just I'm sorry. You can just literally use your imagination and create any number of games with this. There is just what you can do with this. It's again wonderful.
It's a collection, and as I say, go to the Aiming High website, and you'll find there's lots more. I just put 4 on this slide just to give you the idea. It's a collection of games. Okay, we'll move on. Now the next one again is a collection of games, and this is great fun. And the one that I have illustrated here is for very small children. You can play this with 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds once they begin to learn to count. Okay?
Yes,
But
I created this with, as you say, as soon as they can count to 3, and if they're only getting up to 5, then only use up to 5. That's your limit, and that's fine. And it's so powerful for them to really start being confident of counting to 5 and adding to 5 without it being any. There's no pressure whatsoever. It's just a fun game. It might only last a couple of times, but then they'll come back to it the next day with enthusiasm. It's absolutely, again, beautiful. And this is one I'll be now playing with my grandson, going up to 20 on this.
So you can have the numbers written on little cards, or you can play this with pencil and paper, or as you see it on the slide, you can do it with counters. But again, you can do it with adding, but you can also do it with multiplying and other sorts of calculations. Any sort of rule where you take the numbers that are at the vertices of the triangle, so you have a triangle and you have a place to put the numbers at each of the vertices of the triangle, and you have a place to put the numbers in the mid points of the edges, okay? And what you put at the midpoint of the edges, you make from the 2 numbers at the ends of that edge. And you make it by adding those 2 numbers or multiplying them, or whatever you've decided on at the start.
So the target numbers in the rectangles, in the midpoints of the triangle, and the numbers that you have to use to create that is on the outside, but you've got to do the same operation on all 3.
And you can decide on the sort of numbers. I mean, you can even do this with algebra, with older children, and you can be adding algebraic expressions or multiplying them. So the idea, once you get on to sort of know what you're doing and you're playing the game, is that you start with a blank frame with those 6 boxes. You take it in turns to put something in the boxes, and if anybody makes a mistake, they lose a point. So
we didn't quite hear that one, Toni. So what Toni said is that once you know how to play, you start with all 6 boxes empty, and people take it in turns to put in the answers. Now you can start with just filling in the 3 rectangles, and then see if it's actually even possible to. You've got to think very carefully what you're going to put in the 3 rectangles in order for it to work. So, but yes, you start with 3 blanks and take it in turns to put numbers in the boxes.
You can start with 6 blanks, Caroline. You can start with 6 blanks. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Start with 6 blanks. That's the biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge is to start with 6 blanks and put the numbers in the rectangles, knowing what the operation already is to get there. Will it work? Can you make it work?
And the order of the day with all of these games is, change the rules if you want to. see what you make of it, and if you find you've got your own rules and they work, and you like it, put it in our comment on Facebook. We'll be interested in how you got on and what you did.
Indeed.
Yes. Okay, one more. This one is a puzzle, and it's got 224 solutions. So my challenge to you now is to find all the solutions. But I know you're going to be thrilled when you find one, and then you'll search for more. So what you do is you add up. Each letter stands for a different number. So you add the letters of FOOT, to foot, to ball, and the answers game. Surprise, surprise. And you'll see that if you're looking at the slide, 2,997 with the 9s, with the O's in the foot being 9s, and added to 3,411 with the ones being L in ball, and that makes you game, which is 6,408, with the 4s being A's, and each letter corresponding to a number. So there's an example. There's one of the solutions. I've given you one solution. Can you find the other 223? So
can you find
it's a big challenge.
And can you find ones that definitely won't work, for example? That's
Well,
another.
lots of those.
Yes, but and explain it. That was the beautiful thing. Toni always makes me explain it. Why is it going to work? Why is it not going to work?
Yeah, a lot of thinking there. And for the big people, they're 18 or younger, who know how to write a computer program, I've given you what we call a pseudocode. It's not in any special language, but anybody who can write a computer program can put my pseudocode into their language, and you'll get a program which will give you all 224 solutions. Okay, so there is a way of getting the computer to do it for you if you can write the computer program code.
So your reward for coding is that the computer works it out for you. Okay, so we are being calculators then, like working this out. We're actually being a calculator.
Yes, but we have to do a lot of reasoning in order to get the solution.
Okay, so we're being computers, not calculators, because the calculator just obeys our fingers, whereas the computer we can code. So we've been computers, working out ourselves.
Okay, so do we want another jingle, Caroline?
I think, yeah, we're 1 minute early. We will go with it, and then we won't be interrupted. So let's just have a quick introduction on what the next one is. So before we go,
the next one is frogs. That's a lovely game.
Oh, I love the frog game. Love the frog game. Right. Okay. All about frogs. Get ready with your ribbit. After the jingle will be, whoopsie, sorry, nearly messed up there. And here we go.
Time for a show and relax radio. Talk about me and you. Time for a show and relax radio. Talk about me and you. Listen to us here 24 hours. Let the happiness come to you. On Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Welcome
Hello.
back to Happiness Hour with Toni and Caroline. It's really Toni. I'm just here as a host because Toni is the one who creates all these wonderful activities. Today is all about lots and lots and lots of games to improve your skills, to help you love and learn math, and by in a fun way, by enjoying it. Doesn't mean you don't think. It just means it's enjoyable and engaging and intriguing, which is what we want. We want all our young mathematicians to love maths and enjoy and then be intrigued by it, don't we?
So we're concentrating on the fun because it's the Christmas holiday and we want people to have fun, but each one of these has got a learning pack with it. And if you want to go to the Aiming High website and find the learning pack for that game, you'll find a lot about the maths you can learn from playing the game. But just for now, we're concentrating on just playing for fun and thinking a lot, perhaps, so that we're more likely to win. Okay. Now, this is a game. It's not particularly competitive, but it is a game where you all work together to try to solve a puzzle. And the best way to do this is by actually acting out. Divide your party people into 2 teams, and in this way I've talked about it, I've got red-eyed frogs and orange-bellied frogs. can see from the pictures, that's what they look like. Okay. Or you can, sometimes people call them frogs and toads. So you have, what you do, if you're going to do it with people, you have your places, and you need, supposing you're doing it with 3 frogs on each side, and you can do it with fewer or more, but let's say it's with 3, and you have a space in the middle. And to move, you are allowed only 2 moves, 2 ways of moving. One is to move to a seat next to you if it's empty, and the other one is to hop onto an empty seat by hopping over the frog next to you. You can't hop over 2 frogs, but you can hop over 1. Okay, so
I was going to say you can't hop over 2 seats either, but there isn't. You never have more than 1 empty seat. That is
exactly
right.
But you have to decide who is going to move to that empty seat, because you can. What you have to do is each team has got to move to the other side and change places. Right. So you've got one team on one side and the other team on the other side, with a space between. And one by one, you've got to move the frogs over, according to the rules, so that your 2 teams are completely swapped places. And that's the puzzle. Can you do it? Can you do it with three frogs on each side, or can you do it with, when you can do that, can you do it with 4 frogs on each side, or 10 frogs on each side? And then can you say how many moves? And can you give a formula for the number of moves? Okay. Well, we'll leave the maths and working out the formula for another day. But we know there's going to be a challenge.
You get help with that, yeah. There's challenge on depending how old you are, but it's a really fun challenge for any age, just solve it. First time around, just solve it. And once you've solved it for 3, or for 6, is it 3 on either side, then same thing, just add another frog onto each one. And it's a nice game to play as well. It doesn't if you don't have 6 people physically, then what you can do is you can get 3 soft toys, maybe bears, and 3 other soft toys, and maybe dogs, just different animals or pictures of them, and do it physically on a table or on the floor if you have some big things, and you can play with it. And then once you've really mastered doing it with 3 and 3 and the space, then you can keep on increasing the size of it, the quantities.
And you don't even need, Caroline, did you know you don't even have to have the same number on each side? It's simple.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, you can have 4 on one side and 3 on the other one. Whatever you want, really.
Oh no, I knew that.
Yes, you still have the same rule that you start with a space between your 2 teams, and you have to, whatever the rules are for swapping, you have to get the teams swapped over.
Okay.
Places swapped. Okay. Next game. The next game is scissors, paper, rock. Now,
I'm ready. I can play this game. I know all about rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, Johan, you're a rock. You've got your hand up with a rock. Okay, now
you have to go 1, 2, 3, and then you
let's
decide.
do it together, Caroline. Okay, let's do it together. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, no, I'm
you win.
I didn't change.
Caroline has made her fist, which is a rock, and I made scissors, and the rock blunts the scissors, so the rock wins. Okay, so there's very simple rules. Scissors beats paper because scissors cut paper. Paper beats the rock because the paper wraps the rock, and as you just saw there, the rock beats the scissors because the rock blunts the scissors. And you can play with 2 or 3 people, or more actually, and you each do your action, okay? And those are the rules about who wins. And there's variations on this game which are a lot of fun. Here's a slide which shows Tiananmen Square, and what it shows is some children playing the game, and you'll see they're doing the splits. Now, I didn't know this version until I actually visited Tiananmen Square and took the photograph you see there. And I was amazed, what are these children doing? And I realized they were playing the game that we play in England, scissors, paper, rock. But when they lost, they had to step, they started with their feet together, and when they lost, they had to take a step with getting their feet further apart, so they were doing the splits. And they didn't lose out until they fell over. Okay. Once they'd fallen over, they were out of the game, but the circle continued until the last person was left with the last person standing. And then I saw a video on YouTube which was the same, but instead of stepping to the side, you have to step forward. So you're doing a forward, yes, a forward splits rather than the sideways splits.
I can't do either, so I don't last very long playing this game at all. My grandson thought it was hilarious watching grandma.
It's very funny. It's very funny. But there's a picture there of Japanese people playing this game many long time ago. It's a very old game, and it's spread all around the world. And what's more, people who invented this game with 5 different actions rather than 3, or with 7 different actions. So you've got snake poisoning, and you've got other actions like a sponge which sponges and soaks up the water, and air. I don't know what happens.
The rock crushes the poor old lizard. Oh dear.
Yeah.
The hat.
And the scissors decapitate the lizard. That doesn't look good.
No, it says that, but the hand smashes the scissors. So it's basically that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, you can find all those instructions on the Aiming High website.
Oh no! Wait! Oh no! It's Spock. That's Spock.
That's
Spock
Spock.
vaporizes the rock, and Spock crushes the scissors. The lizard poisons Spock.
Anyway, another game. This is the Square It game. I love this game. Again, it's such a simple game. You have 25 dots, okay? And you have a way of marking your dots. One way to do it is to use 2 colors. Just pencil and paper game, use 2 colors, okay? And you take it in turns to claim one of those dots. Once you've got it, the other player can't have that. And player tries to make a square, and the square can be tilted at an angle. It doesn't have to be with the edges of the square across and up and across it this way and that and up and down. It can be a tilted square, so you've got to look out for the many possible squares that you can make. And you've got to make a square before your opponent makes one. So watch out what your opponent is doing. That's a good game.
I play this game over Zoom with some of the people I tutor. And what we do is we number the rows with A to Z, but not A to Z, obviously, A, B, C, D, E in this case. And the columns with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it makes it a lot easier. And then one of us has the actual image, which we do on a large sheet, on a large whiteboard. So both of us can see what's happening, but it's easy for both of us to say, right, I'm going to put mine on 1B. And now, having said that, let's say the top rows is one. It's A, B. So let's say you had. I just want to make this super clear because it took one of my tutees a little bit of time to work it out. So 1B can be a dot, and then I might do my next one on 2E. In other words, it's down 1 and across 3. It's a straight line. If you draw a straight line between it, it is just as much a straight line, perfectly good straight line. So the second column, first row, and the 5th column, second row, join those two together. That is, see if you can make a square starting with that. And yeah, that's it's a little sort of yeah, just to let you know that is a valid line, and it might take you a while to get familiar with it.
Well, your lines don't have to be
valid line.
Your lines can be at an angle to the edges of your paper. They don't have to be straight across or straight up and down. Now,
and the only thing that matters is the square is a square. That the square is 90 degrees on every edge is the same length, and every angle is 90 degrees, and that is a square. That's all you need to, and every edge is the same length.
And Caroline's just told you how you can use sort of map references, you know, A3, C4, or whatever. You can also play this with more dots. It actually becomes a little bit trickier if you play it with more. I've started you off on 25 dots, 5 by 5, but you can play with more. You can play it with coordinates, like 2 numbers, as you learn when you're in school to draw graphs using coordinates for the points. And you can learn it, and you can also play this with positive and negative coordinates. So there are different versions of this game. If you want to use it in your teacher, you want to use it in class, and you want to use it to introduce a lesson on coordinates in 4 quadrants, here's your game. But now we're all at home and it's Christmas, and so let's just go on playing. The next game's called Tug of War. I think it's today's game.
Okay, yes. Oh, it is today's. Oh, today's.
Yeah.
I thought it's not Boxing Day's game.
I think I put it on today. Okay.
We'll
It's
talk about that in just a moment. We're going to do the jingle. I see what you mean by today's game. Isn't the Tug of War a traditional game for Boxing Day?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. It's gone. We lost it. We're going to have a jingle, and then we're going to learn about Tug of War. Now, it'll be interesting to see what it's called in your country. It's called Tug of War in the UK. You might have a version of it in your own country with a different name. We'd love to hear about that too. We're going to hear about how to play this and play a math game straight after the break.
Time for a show on Relax Radio. Talk about me and you. Time for a show on Relax Radio. Talk about me and you. So listen to what's here 24 hours. Let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Radio.
Welcome back to the Happy Maths Hour with Toni and Caroline, and we're about to show you, Toni's about to show us how we can have lots of fun learning math by playing Tug of War. How about it?
Well, yes, the Tug of War is a team game, usually with a team of people on both sides, sometimes just one person. And you have a rope, and you have a line between you, and your aim is to pull your opponent, or the first man or woman in your opponent's team, across to your side of the line. Then you've won. And it often ends with people, you know, all laughing and somebody pulling and pulling until they sit down. But this is a mathematical tug of war. Okay, no rope really, just a line that is numbered from -13, -12, -11, and so on down to 0, and then +1, +2, up to +13. So you are just imagining you're pulling this way and that way, and both players are pulling hard, okay? And that's the game. Now you can play it with 2 teams. If it doesn't matter how many people, you can just divide them into 2 teams. And let's say it's 2 people or 2 teams, you call them plus and minus. So if you're on the minus team, you're trying to pull the numbers your way to get to -13. And if you are in the plus team, you're trying to pull your numbers the positive way, and you're trying to pull the numbers to +13. You use 2 dice, or use a spinner and spin it twice, and you add the scores, and you move the counter that number of places on the number line in your direction. So supposing you score a 6 and a 5, that's 11, and you start off at 0, then you pull the number all the way to, if you're on the plus side, you'll pull it all the way +11, and you've only 2 more squares to go, and you win.
So
But
what happens if you go with 3?
Next time, the other players throw the dice and pull the number that way, so it moves from 11 back towards, in the negative direction, back towards -13. Now, Caroline asked, what happens if you throw 3? Too bad, you don't move at all. You've got to get precisely on +13 or -13, okay?
So you either make progress, and when you're short, or you're spot on, or you don't move. If your number is too big, you just don't move.
So if you're within 12 of your goal, then you have a chance of winning in that throw, because because you can throw any number up to 12. Okay, so you can. So if you're within 12 and you throw the right number, you land on your +13 or -13, and you've won that round. So it sounds as if it might go on for quite a long time, but it because you're pulling it first in one way and then the other way, but it doesn't last that long. It's quite an exciting game, actually. Try it.
Now, you did mention, I'm just going to change the banner here, because you just mentioned that it's today's game. It's today's game on the Facebook page, the AIMSEC SA Facebook page. And Toni writes these little activities every single day, and then we share it. So it starts on, everything's on AIMSEC SA, and then we share it in our group, and we share it in lots of different places. So if you want to share this with a group that you are a member of, please do follow and like the AIMSEC SA Facebook page. It's facebook.com/AIMSSECSA. If you're listening to this on the radio, you can't see it, then if you go onto the Relax Radio website, the Facebook page, then you'll find it on there as well. Just search for the Happy Maths Hour show, and you'll find the links on there. So this is a great resource, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on the facebook.com AIMSEC SA Facebook page.
And every day throughout the year, there's something new on the Facebook page for AIMSEC. And what's more, there's always something else if you go to the Aiming High. Now, the Aiming High website, see what you have on the Facebook page is just a starter, just to get you going, to begin to do the activity and just to start. And then there's a lot more. We call it a learning pack. So each one of these starters has got, to go with it, they have got a learning pack on Aiming High, same name, on Aiming High. And in the learning pack, you will find a worksheet, you will find notes for teachers, which explain to the teachers how, well, give you ideas for how you might use this in lessons with children of different ages. And then we've got the home learning guide, and the home learning guide is designed for a group of children, older children, younger children, any age between about 4 and 18 or 19, all to learn together. Now, of course, you're all at different stages. So you do the starter together, some sort of practical activity which everybody can do, whether you're 4 years old or 18, everybody can do it and enjoy it. That's the idea of the starter. Talk about it, and then short starter, and then there's an activity, a different activity for you, your particular age and stage, to suit you, that follows on. So that's the learning pack. So,
and if you find you're the older person, you're the adult, you're the older sibling, and you have any difficulties with it, then please comment on. You can go on the AIMSEC essay page, ask questions on there, under the comments, or you can go into our group as well, Making Maths Fun for Kids of All Ages. Will give you. There's a lot of support on there. If you have questions, ask them, please. We want to help, and ask your questions. Ask away.
So, Caroline, what also happens is people point out something that would be an improvement, and I read the comment, I think, what? And so often I actually tweak what I've put on there to start with and make it a little bit better according to somebody's suggestion. Or sometimes it's not exactly an improvement, it's just a different idea, which is always really, really good to have a different way.
An addition, enhancement, not necessarily an improvement, enhancement. Yeah,
exactly. Now the next game is called 5 in a Line, and this is related to other games as well, which you'll find in the learning pack. There's a very famous game that people in Southeast Asia play a lot. You do see it in England and in North America and Europe, but it's a very, very well-known and popular game in places like Korea, Japan, China, called Go Maku. So this is a simpler game. It's 5 in a line. And there is a board which is marked out again with 25 points, but these points are joined up with lines now. Lines at an angle, as well as lines across parallel to the edges of your screen sideboard paper. And you take it in turns. You have 10 counters, 5 for each team or player. And you take it in turns to place one counter at a lattice point. That's a point, one of those 25 points. Again, you're trying to achieve a pattern, but this pattern is not making a square. This pattern is getting 5 in a line. Okay. Now you go on.
Tony, time out, Tony. We've got 4 minutes left. No.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So you play until you've got 10 counters on the board, and then you can move the counters one space to adjacent space, and keep moving them until one player or the other gets a line. The next game is spin high, spin low. Here, you spin the counter 4 times. Again, it's like the target game that you saw earlier. You put your number, you choose where to put the number, but once it's there, you can't move it, and you try to get the highest score. This is a lovely game, red or black. It's so easy. You play it with the ordinary playing set of playing cards. One player is the dealer and turns each card face up one at a time. But before turning it, the other player says red or black. And if they're right about the color, they win that card. If they're wrong, the dealer keeps the card. And who's got the most cards at the end? Game of Pig. This is a dice game. We have the rules here. I'll leave you to look at them yourself. This is another game with scoring and risk. Will you take the risk? And then, oh dear, things might go well, they might not. And finally, a little bit of information here. This is how you can go and find our learning packs. You can go to the Aiming High website. You can go to our app. And if you go to the AimSec app, you can get everything down onto your device, and then you won't need to be connected to the internet. And I've got a slide there.
Sorry, there we go. Found it. There, found it. Go ahead.
Okay, so global maths lesson, that's not till September, but we do that once a year. And this year is going to be the all-time high, isn't it? Let's aim for 20,000, shall we, Caroline?
We've done 50,000, Toni. Let's beat 50,000.
Oh, let's aim for 100,000.
Yes, let's.
This is the number of children who are doing the 30-minute lesson on the same day. And they can do it at home or at school, and it's always a fun 30 minutes. And we have been doing that for 5 years. And we also have a YouTube channel. We call it Maths Toys, and that's for videos. So they all sort of blend in, and they're used in learning packs on Aiming High. So come and enjoy maths with us in 2021.
Yes, and it is the way to go. If you're worried about maths, you've got children who are struggling with it, you don't know what to do, play these games. These activities are a lifesaver, so please do use them. I'm going to, whoops, show that one now. There you go. And AIMSEC, the work that Toni does, is all. It was originally started for teachers specifically in Africa that teach in disadvantaged communities to help the children that had little hope without good education. And but for those of you that are able, we have a GoFundMe, and obviously want to. We have a GoFundMe page benefiting children by empowering teachers. We are now very excited about expanding basically to the rest of the world, aren't we, Toni? We've got a global group started.
And to everybody, but particularly to people in refugee camps and people who, as Caroline says, the hope for the children is a good education, which maybe, we hope, will mean a better life for them. And we work with teachers all over the world to empower those teachers. It doesn't cost anything for teachers, the people who are enjoying the maths, but of course there's some cost, quite a bit of cost in us running courses for teachers and helping the teachers. So a lot of us are working for free and not charging anything. We do have a team in South Africa who are our important hardcore team who do a lot of the work and keep everything going. So please help AIMSEC. We need your help.
Thank you so much, everyone. We have to stop there for this week. See you same time next week. That's 5 o'clock London time with our Happy Maths Hour. Thank you, Toni. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Join us for Happy Hour every Monday.
Bye-bye.
Stream out.